तवकथामृतं तप्ते जीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भूयोनन्ति हुरिराधना. Your words are like nectar, bring life to scorched souls. They are praised by poets and remove all sin. They are auspicious to hear, wonderful and exalted. Those who spread these words throughout the world are truly giving souls. Welcome to our class on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We are starting a new chapter. This is chapter 29, Durga Puja Festival, on page 558. And the date is Friday, September 26, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna had come to Calcutta. Come to Calcutta sounds funny because we think Dakshineswar is just the outskirts, but it was kind of more of a village in those days, a little bit away. Even Kashipur was considered outside of the city at that time. Anyhow, Sri Ramakrishna had come to Calcutta. It was the first day of the Durga Puja, the great religious festival, and the Hindus of the metropolis were celebrating it. The master intended to visit the image of the Divine Mother at Uddhar's house. He also wanted to see Shivanath, the Brahmo devotee. Durga Puja in Calcutta is really something to see. That was my very first trip to India, to Calcutta, was right at Durga Puja time. And I was just charmed by it. Almost every street corner, it seemed. And there'd be the image set up outside, and there'd be a little festival and jatras. And I remember a night where I was staying in Bhavanipur, and Shanai concert, one night. And then afterwards, everybody visits all the houses of relatives and has sweets and things. And it was a fantastic time. So Thakur wanted to see the image because in many homes, they would also set up an image. This is a festival where you set up an image, and then there'll be, the image will be consigned, usually in the Ganges there, of course, or to a river or something, when the festival is over. Sri Ramakrishna also wanted to see Shivanath, the Brahmo devotee. Shivanath Shastri was someone that, for some reason, Sri Ramakrishna was always anxious to see, and who was never very anxious to be seen by Sri Ramakrishna. That he's not always home when he knows he's coming, and he doesn't always come when he says he'll come, and doesn't have the highest opinion of Sri Ramakrishna, that he respects him as a holy man and everything, but he thinks that he's a little bit mad. He's the one who says that he's, by thinking too much about God, that one loses one's head. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say, it's not like thinking of other things. If you're thinking of that which is pure consciousness, how can you lose your consciousness? Anyhow, that's Shivanath Shastri. He and Vijay Krishna Goswami were the two main ones who started or separated, we can say, from the Brahmo Samaj. Of course, they probably felt that they were keeping the original one, the Sadhana Brahmo Samaj, and that Keshav was now starting something new. Anyhow, there was a split, however we understand it, and Shivanath was one of the main people on the other side. Keshav on one side, Shivanath Shastri, and Vijay Krishna Goswami and others on the other side. Sri Ramakrishna didn't seem to care in the least. He was equally friendly with everybody on both sides. It was about midday, umbrella in hand, and was pacing the footpath in front of the Brahmo Samaj temple. 2 hours had passed, but the master had not yet appeared. Now and then, M sat down on the steps of Dr. Mahal Navish's dispensary and watched the joy and mirth of the people, young and old, who were celebrating the puja. A little after 3, the master's carriage drove up. So imagine, this is of course, it'll not the hottest season, but still a hot season. It's 3 hours that Emma's outside, either pacing back and forth or just waiting. I hope he had some shade or something, but he doesn't say anything about getting annoyed or anything, just going back and forth and watching things happily. A little after 3, the master's carriage drove up. As soon as Sri Ramakrishna stepped out, he saluted the temple of the Brahmo Samaj with folded hands. Now, M could have gone inside also, but he wanted to be there when Sri Ramakrishna got down from the carriage. Sounds like. Hazra and a few other devotees were with him and bowed before the master and took the dust of his feet. The master told him that he was going to Shivanath's house. A few minutes later, several members of the Brahmo Samaj came and took him to Shivanath, but Shivanath was not at home. Shortly afterwards, Vijay Krishna Goswami, Mahal Navish, and several other Brahmo leaders greeted the master and took him inside the Brahmo temple. Sri Ramakrishna was in a happy mood. He was given a seat below the altar. There, the Brahmo devotees sang their devotional music. Vijay and the Brahmo devotees sat in front of the master. Master, to Vijay with a smile, I was told that you had put up a signboard. Now, in the English translation, whenever we see this, the quotation marks, that means that Thakur knew that English word, that he actually said signboard. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I was told that you would put up a signboard here that people belonging to other faiths are not allowed to come in. Yeah. I don't know if that's true, if it was just for that one time, or yeah. And it sounds odd. They weren't so sectarian, but anyhow, don't know.
So they wanted to convert people.
Yeah, they wanted people to join them. Of course, they wanted people, yeah, from other faiths. Meant mostly those who had some type of sectarian Hindu tradition. They're the Vaishnavas or Shaktas or something like that. Christians, I don't think they would have been bold enough to say Christians can't come. They probably would have been happy. Yeah. So, Master to Vijay with a smile, I was told that you had put up a signboard here that people belonging to other faiths are not allowed to come in. Narendra too said to me, you shouldn't go to the Brahmo Samaj. You had better visit Shivanath's house. Now, not that Narendra was so close to Shivanath, but I think he knew that Sri Ramakrishna wasn't always treated that well, the Brahmo Samaj. It was an odd relationship. Some of them were extremely devoted to him, some mildly, some a little jealous, some probably didn't care for him. He was too rustic and everything, and not gentlemanly enough, didn't dress properly. They all had all different types of attitudes towards him. But this one time when Narendra got so upset when they turned the lights off and there was chaos and he had to take him out slowly, I think Shivnath was behind that at that time. Huh? Yeah. So, but still, Thakur still, he had this fondness for Shiva. He always gives the example. We talk about Shivnath as long as he's not here, but when he's here, we just enjoy his company. He always uses him for that example. But I say that we are all calling on the same God. Jealousy and malice need not be. Now we'll see a lot of things that Sri Ramakrishna told earlier to Balaram's father, who was a very orthodox Vaishnava. He's telling to the Brahmos. Now he could also tell it to the Shaktas, because all of them had a little bit of this sectarian view. Some a lot, some to different extents, but not wanting to mix with others too much, feeling some sense of superiority, or even that others are in the dark, with the Brahmo especially, those who were doing what they called idol worship, who would worship God through an image in the temple. But I say that we are all calling on the same God. Jealousy and malice need not be. Some say that God is formless, and some that God has form. I say, let one man meditate on God with form if he believes in form, and let another meditate on the formless deity if he does not believe in form. What I mean is that dogmatism is not good. It is not good to feel that my religion alone is true and other religions are false. The correct attitude is this: my religion is right, but I do not know whether other religions are right or wrong, true or false. I say this because one cannot know the true nature of God unless one realizes Him. Yeah, this attitude that my religion is right is what Sri Ramakrishna used to call nishtha. Yeah, it may sound that this is also a little bigoted, that we better off to say that all religions are right, mine is not better than anybody else's, but there's something very positive about this attitude of nishtha, that we have no doubts about our own spiritual path. And we have a great conviction regarding the truth of it, the efficacy of it. See, for Sri Ramakrishna, the question of truth didn't have to do with all of the particulars of it. It had to do with whether one could realize God by practicing that faith with a great devotion. And that ultimately, unless one realizes God, everything is just uh, either faith or speculation or uh, reasoning, whatever. But it doesn't have we won't get the same type of conviction that we get unless we have that realization. Kabir used to say, God with form is my mother, the formless is my father. Which shall I blame? Which shall I praise? The two pans of the scales are equally heavy. Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Shaktas, Shaivas, Vaishnavas, the Brahmagyanis of the time of the rishis, and you, the Brahmagyanis of modern time, all seek the same object. A mother prepares dishes to suit the stomachs of her children. Suppose a mother has 5 children and a fish is bought for the family. She doesn't cook palau or kalia for all of them. All have not the same power of digestion, so she prepares a simple stew for some, but she loves all her children equally. What is this in Marathi? Potato. Yeah, yeah. I knew that. And I think the Hindi translation, they'll say pumpkin or something. Yeah. Anyhow, what Sri Ramakrishna is really saying is that uh, all of the religions that Sri Ramakrishna feels are time tested. He's not talking about those that come and go. Those that are time tested, he feels have some authority to them. And he says even come from the Divine Mother, that she is the one. He's not saying these religions are good because they're man made or anything, that each one will have a founder who was either a prophet or called an incarnation or some great soul, something like that, or a tradition that goes back to see even the sampradayas, the traditions of the philosophers, Shankaracharya and Ramanuja and others. They'll trace their tradition back to the Brahman itself. Yeah. Either the Shri Sampradaya or Brahma Sampradaya. They'll all trace it back to some original revelation type of idea. If it's traced back to the Upanishads, then that also has authority as a Shruti. So, because he's asked many times later about the Brahmo Samaj, and will it last? And he said, only those that have substance in them will last. Others will come and go. So he's talking Hindus, Muslims means Muslim. They used that term at that time. Christians, Shaktas, Shaivas, Vaishnavas, Brahmagyanis of Volta. And you, the Brahmagyanis, the Brahmo Samaj, all seek the same object. And then the mother prepares the dishes. So we have this doctrine really that religions are suited to culture and to time and in addition to the individual personality of each person. So there are two theories really. One is that the religion that grows up is a product of its culture and the people and the time and the need of the time and everything like that. And the other idea, which we find almost only in this Vedantic tradition or Hindu tradition, is that we have a lot of freedom of choice. That we may grow up in a Shakta family and will like to worship Krishna, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. That type of freedom, and that to think that everybody who grows up in a Muslim family or Christian family or Hindu family is best suited to follow that particular tradition sounds right, but it doesn't always work out that way. That there will always be those that just feel a pull to another particular path. That we have these two things. One is that they're attracted to it. It tastes good. The ruchi veda, that they like the way the fish is prepared in this one place, and the other that it suits their stomach. That it something that aligns with their personality, and that they can actually assimilate the teachings, because we may feel a great attraction to a particular path. And I would say most of the time, there's a difficulty is with this Advaita Vedanta. That is so appealing, this idea that Brahman alone is real, this world is like a dream, but very few people can digest it. Very few people can, and they'll make a mess of it. Yeah. Swamiji says undigested Vedanta, the same idea. They simply can't digest it. I mean, there can be other examples also. This is why Swamiji said that the cloth should be cut to fit the individual. Don't force everybody to wear the same size clothes. That he wanted to see like each individual represent a sect unto himself or herself. Yeah, that means it's tailor-made. Now it can be within, of course, within one particular tradition, there can be all these different attitudes, spiritual attitudes. So it doesn't mean it has to be a different tradition. One tradition that does this, I know, is a Baha'i. That when the children are brought up, they belong to this tradition of the book. You know, this idea of the book. That means everything will go back to the Old Testament and New Testament. So even in Islam, they make a distinction between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, which are all people of the book, and other religions. Yeah. So in the Baha'i, they consider themselves part of that tradition, even though the Muslims won't consider them part of it. Anyhow, I've been told that in the families that they'll teach the children equally about, they'll learn about the Old Testament, New Testament, and everything. They'll teach them and Quran, all of these, and they can choose if they want to belong to one of those three, or else remain Baha'i. And if they belong to one of the three, they're considered also to fall within. Some idea like
that. The Sufis, Ahmadiyya, they are also something like that.
Ahmadiyya is different. The Sufi tradition is much older. There were Sufis well before that. Ahmadiyya, they traced themselves back to their own prophet, who was around the same time as the prophet of Baha'i, and around the same time as Sri Ramakrishna. That's that same period. Somehow was a very rich period. So they're considered outside the pale of Orthodox Islam because Muhammad is the only prophet. They have a separate prophet, a new one. So they consider themselves fully uh, Muslim, but the Orthodox Muslims won't accept them. They'll be persecuted very much. Yeah, very much. Yeah. I went to a Ahmadiyya mosque in Calcutta one time because I made friends with there he was an egg seller just on the street where I lived for that one year. So he sold duck eggs to the Hindus and chicken eggs to the Muslims, mostly. Yeah. Anyhow, we became friendly, and they proselytized. They tried to convert people. Yeah. So one day, I invited him and some of his friends. They came and had tea with me, and they invited me to their mosque and everything. But they pressure you a little bit like ISKCON, they'll argue a little bit and everything, and try to convert you. But they were nice people anyhow. So yeah, Ahmadiyya. There's an Ahmadiyya mosque very close to us. Yeah, yeah. On Good Hope and what's it? Briggs Cheney and Good Hope. That gray and green. Yeah, very pretty, whitish. Yeah.
Mainstream Muslims don't consider themselves they
No,
they're
they're
non-Muslims.
very
They call them
worse than that. They're heretics. Yeah, it's worse for a Muslim to pose those views. If somebody else does, okay, that's all right. They can have their own faith, but call themselves Muslim. Yeah.
Even the Nobel laureate, Abdul Salam,
Uh-huh.
he was not recognized much in the Pakistan.
Yeah, no, Pakistan, they're very much persecuted. Yeah.
A lot of them live in England.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah. But Calcutta, they also have this Ahmadiyya. Yeah, it's like this Messianic Judaism. These are Jews who accept Christ. Yeah. Now most Jews, they don't care that anybody else can accept Christ, but you accept Christ and you're going to call yourself a Jew and pretend that, why not just say you're Christian like that? So they're not looked upon by the Orthodox Jews at all. In fact, Orthodox Jews, even conservative and reform, ultra-Orthodox are not considered Jews. So every tradition has its fanaticism. Every tradition. Yeah. This is really one of the reasons why Sri Ramakrishna came was to get rid of this religious fanaticism.
So who are these Jehovah's Witnesses, Maharaj?
I don't know much about them. They're Christians. Yeah, it's one of the Protestant, Christianity groups. Yeah, I don't know much about all these different.
They are big into conversion.
Yeah, so many of them are. But Mormons, they're very big on conversion also. Baha'is also. They also have missionary activity. Yeah, those who have a lot of missionary activity, it's because they really believe that they convert somebody, they're saving a soul. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with them, but I understand. Say Mother Teresa. She tried to convert people. There's no question about it. I still think she was a saint. I mean, I understand the mindset that she really had that deep conviction that those who accepted Christ before they died, they would go to heaven. Now, we may say that what a silly thing, and it's one-sided and bigoted and everything. But if that was her conviction, then we can question. But she grew up in that faith. Yeah. So I don't like it, and I don't agree with it, but I understand it. And I think even despite that, I think she was a very saintly person, the type of life that she lived. Anyhow, if I offended anybody, I want to be an equal offender. Yeah, I'm not trying to pick out any one particular tradition. Yeah, we'll see how when Matar Babu and Vaishnav Charan, when they were dining together and Sri Ramakrishna was there, how they almost came to blows. One was an Orthodox Vaishnava, Orthodox Shakta. So, it's a human nature. It's human nature. Of course, there are many very, very broad and liberal traditions, and in all of them as well. Yeah, the Sufi tradition also is very, very liberal. Do you know my attitude, Sri Ramakrishna speaking? I love all the preparation to fish. That meant that all the different spiritual paths appealed to him. And he practiced all of them that he knew of, with the exception of those things that really were part of this left-handed tantrika. Those things he couldn't do, of course. But he had that type of mind. We don't have that type of mind. We have to find one that appeals to us and stick to it. Sometimes Sri Ramakrishna says it's good to practice all religions at least once, just to get a taste, just to see how other people worship. Yeah, I think really that this would take care of a lot of problems in the world if we would worship with other faiths, people in their own setting, and understand everything. Yeah, the way the world looks to them, that it would make a big difference. Yeah. Yeah, I had nice experiences. And Calcutta has everything. Yeah, Armenian church. I went everywhere. Yeah, I went one time to this Nakoda Masjid, the huge mosque. Yeah, in Calcutta. I went twice actually. One time it was empty. It wasn't namaz time. I went in and I was so used to, all the Hindu temples. For after months and months in India, then I go in and there's nothing there. You're looking where you're looking for someplace to bow down, but immediately you get the feeling of the infinite. Yeah, I really liked it. Then I went a second time, and it was namaz time, just by chance. No idea. I was with my Bengali friend, Hindu, of course. They were so nice. They took us there, and they showed us how to wash our hands and feet and mouth and everything. We sat in line with them to do namaz. They went like that. We went like that. We tried to follow as well as we could. They were so nice. I've been other mosques where they won't let you in. I mean, they're of different traditions. And Iran, I don't think we could go inside any. But yeah, so people are people. They're good people everywhere. Yeah. And they're narrow-minded people everywhere. Anyhow, Sri Ramakrishna, he appreciated it because he never approached any religion as an outsider. He did it as an insider. That was the difference. He became one of them, and he did it by dressing like them, and by eating like them, and worshiping like them. With the Islamic sadhana, he did namaz 5 times a day. He had a Muslim cook show exactly the type of cooking. It means mostly adding onions, not too much else. But this is how he really could enter into that mood. He had all the pictures of gods and goddesses removed from his room. Yeah, he wouldn't go to the Kali temple for just a few days. That's how he did it. That's how he could really understand what it was like to worship the way they worshipped. And he appreciated it, of course. So God has made different religions to suit different aspirants, times, and countries. All doctrines are only so many paths. Now, this is the real teaching, that not one of them has any special claim to truth. They're all paths leading to truth. They're all different ways to get to the roof. Not one of them can claim any special possession of what's on the roof. And that way we don't have to say that, we don't have to try to harmonize them. We don't have to try to say that, they're saying the same thing in different words. They really mean the same. Everybody's worshiping. No, they can be really radically different paths that can still get us to the roof. All right, there'll be things in common, of course, but there can be things that are quite different, culturally different, and yeah. See, this Islam and Hinduism in the same country of India are so radically opposed in a few things that it is a wonder that they can there's any overlap at all. One loves images, the other can't bear even the picture of a human being. They just let alone God. Forget about gods. Even the prophet, you can't have a picture, any human representation somehow. And they're living in a country where everywhere they're saying there's some human reputation or some deities and everything. Yeah. So uh, otherwise, the same the same love of God in the heart and everything. Yeah. Swamiji uh, had great reverence for Islam and for the Islamic heart and the Islamic body and the strength of it and the community of it. And the Swami Akhandananda, and reading this in book, it's very interesting. On different occasions, one he had different visions of Swamiji. Swamiji dressed as if he's a Muslim, and with some iron chain around us, and something with and holding the tongues and the different things in his hand. And his companions were Iran, Afghan, Khorasan, the four companions, all sorts of interesting things. And he I think some of them were when Swamiji was alive, and he asked him about it. And he said, yes, what we need is this Islamic body. So he had this vision. He knew it was Swamiji, but it didn't look like him, big and strong. Swamiji was also strong, of course, but yeah. And the Swami Akhandananda, before he was brought back to Bellermut, Swamiji wanted him to come back, and he did all the work with the orphanage. He wanted to go to Turkey. He loved to travel. Of course, he went to all the Himalayas, but he's really drawn in that direction. And Swamiji grew up with great reverence for the Sufi poets because of his father, his Hafiz and others. His father was a great lover of Persian poetry. And so, yeah. No, no. Swamiji called him back to the mutt. And then also he started that orphanage. Once he started the orphanage in Sargachi, then that his heart was there all the time. He never wanted to leave. All doctrines are only so many paths, but a path is by no means God himself. Indeed, one can reach God if one follows any of the paths with wholehearted devotion. So this is the whole point. Not one has any special claim on God. Each one is a path. One can reach God if one follows any of the paths with wholehearted devotion. Now, sometimes we think that the doctrine is all religions are true. We hear something like that. It doesn't mean that each doctrine that every religion holds is somehow true, because there'll be contradictory things. One will have their own creation theory, another different creation theory. One will say you go to heaven, it's eternal. One will say you go to heaven, you come back. They'll have all differences like that. But it's the legitimacy and the authority and authenticity with regard to realizing some truth beyond all of the doctrines, realizing something beyond all of the doctrines that can be achieved if one has this tremendous love and devotion and nishtha, if they will stick to it and have great longing for God. Then he says, forget about all religions have errors. And not that there's anyone that's perfect. They all have good things and bad things and superstitions and things. We have to know, pick and choose, and what things are important, what things are not important. Oh, that's interesting. I never saw these people can ask questions. Why Hinduism is a dying religion? Look at the demographics. Yeah. Well, one of course, I will disagree with that, of course, but the birth rate in India, at least, will be less for Hindus, I think, than Muslims. Yeah, and Hindus, of course, travel. Yeah, but I think it's still very vibrant. The Hindu church is very vibrant, very vibrant. Yeah, yeah. Suppose there are errors in the religion that one has accepted. If one is sincere and earnest, then God himself will correct those errors. Suppose a man has set out with a sincere desire to visit Jagannath at Puri, and by mistake has gone north instead of south, then certainly someone meeting him on the way will tell him, "My good fellow, don't go that way, go to the south," and the man will reach Jagannath sooner or later. Now, Sri Ramakrishna sometimes has a little footnote. He says, but it's better not to have to go off course. Yeah, if we can go straight there, then of course it's better. If there are errors in other religions, that is none of our business. Yeah, very important. How modern Sri Ramakrishna was. Yeah, for a simple village priest, unlettered village priest, he was so modern in his thinking. If there are errors in other religions, that is none of our business. God, to whom the whole world belongs, takes care of that. Our duty is somehow to visit Jagannath. That means to realize God. To the Brahmos. The view you hold is good indeed. See, they were very fanatical about God has to be formless, but with attributes. This was their position. This is pretty much the position of the three main religions that come out of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. That God is formless, and yet will be a God of love and mercy and justice, and qualities like that. So you describe God as formless. That is fine. One may eat a cake with icing, either straight or sidewise. It will taste sweet either way. So if we get the experience of God, however we access it and however we understand it, we may even be like the blind people. We're convinced that the elephant is a pillar. Some say no, it's not a pillar. It's like a fan touching me. It may be like that. We hope that if we have that realization, that we'll understand that these are all facets. But dogmatism is not good. You've no doubt heard the story of the chameleon, the Bahurupi. A man entered a wood and saw a chameleon on a tree. He reported to his friends, "I've seen a red lizard." He was firmly convinced that it was nothing but red. Another person, after visiting the tree, said, "I've seen a green lizard." He was firmly convinced that it was nothing but green. But the man who lived under the tree said, "What both of you have said is true, but the fact is that the creature is sometimes red, sometimes green, sometimes yellow, and sometimes has no color at all." So this is either we think that God can manifest himself in all of these different ways, or that we experience God in these different ways. These are the two doctrines that can explain how the one can be seen as the many. One is a little more objective, a little more subjective. So that God knows the longing of our heart. We want to see a God in the form of Krishna, he'll reveal himself in the form of Krishna. So this is some objective thing. We can say that God himself is revealing himself in a particular way, a highly personal point of view. The other is more subjective, that the Him Shakti, this cooling power of our devotion in a particular form, will cause the water to turn into ice of a particular form according to our longing, what we want to see. Subjective idea. Both have the same, that we're getting the water, or we take the water out of the pond, it'll take the shape of the container that we use, pitcher or a bucket, whatever it is. But it's still the same water, the one and the same. Yeah. So in Gita, we have a little bit this idea that I'll reveal myself in the form that you want to see, or I'll make your faith firm in that form that you want to see. But Sri Ramakrishna, he accepts both views. One is more a psychological thing, that we have a longing to see God in a particular form. We'll see it and see God in that form. But he wants us to understand that those who see God in a different form are seeing the same. That this is like the chameleon. It's one and the same. They're not different lizards. One and the same. Same thing with the vat of dye. It's all dipped in the same solution. That infinite absolute comes out in different forms. But who knows that? The person who lives with God day and night, the man who lives under the tree, who lives there. So that's Sri Ramakrishna himself and all of those who are both God realized and have this very liberal type of understanding about the truth of all religions, the God revealing himself in different ways. God has been described in the Vedas as both with attributes and without. You describe him as without form only. That is one-sided. But never mind. If you know one of his aspects truly, you will be able to know his other aspects too. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna used to say. You first meet this Jadu Malik. Yeah, you're guessing about what he's like and everything. First meet him, then he'll tell you everything if you want. He'll tell you all his property and his wealth and everything. But try to meet him first. If we have that realization, it doesn't mean that we'll know everything about God. That's impossible. But we'll have some understanding of the infinite nature and that we can't restrict God to any one thing. Yeah, this idea of knowing everything about God, Thakur says it's like thinking that in order to swim in the Ganga, we have to start all the way up in Gomukh and go all the way down to Ganga Sagar. He said, wherever you swim, you've entered into the water. You'll be transformed. Don't worry about how you got in or where or anything like that. Pointing to 2 or 3 Brahmo devotees. Those who come to your Samaj know both this gentleman and that. He's just giving an example that if one realizes God, then one should know God is both transcendent and dwelling within everything, transcendent and immanent, with form, without form. Vijay still belonged to the Shadharan Brahmo Samaj. Now, he says still belong because he's going to leave soon. Yeah. This is not that he was there from the very beginning. From the very beginning, it was just the Brahmo Samaj, or Adi Brahmo Samaj, how it first started. But this is because he's not going to last long. He was a salaried preacher of that organization, but could not obey all its rules and regulations. He mixed with those who believed in God with form. This is a no-no. Yeah, they weren't supposed to do that. Yeah. This was creating a misunderstanding between him and the Brahmo authorities. So this Vijay, he had two big shifts. One, he and Keshav were hand in hand. They were best friends, and they worked together and everything. And then this whole flap came over Keshav's marriage of his daughter, who was a little underage. So then he split. He and Shivnath and some of the others, they thought that if the leader of an organization doesn't follow the rules that are set up, then something's wrong. So he split. But even after that, and now this devotional mood is coming to him, and from a Vaishnava family, a Goswami, that Thakur said that, yeah, it was never a good fit for you in either of the Brahmo Samajas. Yeah, that this will have to.
Devendranath Tagore started the Adi Brahmo Samaj, but he was not part of this anymore.
He must have passed away. Thakur met him. He would have passed. He would have passed away.
No?
Huh?
He was alive, but he never.
No, he was alive. Thakur met him. I don't think he's alive now. This is when Thakur was there. Yeah.
So then that
Because he was quite elderly at the time. Do you know? Anybody know when he died? Devendranath. Huh?
So it changed name from Adi to Sadharan.
1905.
Huh?
1905. 1905. So
1905. Oh, so he was still alive. Uh-huh.
So they kept changing name from Adi to Sadharan to Navvidhan.
No. They didn't change it. They split.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this Adi was also split.
Yeah. I don't know if they kept this Adi Brahmo Samaj or if it started being. But anyhow, the Brahmo Samaj there's one group, they kind of left Keshav, and they called it Sadharan, general Brahmo Samaj. And then Keshav's group, he called it this Navavidhan. So that's two different groups now. Both claim to be Brahmo Samaj. Yeah. Yeah, Devendranath, he must have been quite old and not very active at that point, I think. Yeah. Now, Rabindranath, yeah, I don't know. Now we still have a Brahmo Samaj. Is it from the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj? Navavidhan probably died with Keshav. Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, these are not so important things. Many Brahmos disapproved of his conduct, Vijay Krishna, of his conduct. The master suddenly looked at Vijay and began to talk to him. Master, to Vijay smiling. Yeah, you remember earlier they were on the steamer together, Vijay and Keshav, and how Thakur joked about it and tried to put them together. It was very embarrassing. Yeah. Vijay had come to see Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar and didn't want to just leave and miss his company. And Sri Ramakrishna and the boat and steamer came to take Sri Ramakrishna. I think they surprised him. And Keshav was there. So Vijay went with Sri Ramakrishna, knowing it'll be a little uncomfortable, but wanted it to be with him. That's the impression we get. And then Thakur joked and tried to bring them, reconcile them a little bit. I don't know if they ever really reconciled, because Keshav died shortly after that. Yeah. If he went to see him or anything. Master to Vijay smiling, I understand that they've been finding fault with you for mixing with those who believe in God with form. Is that true? He who is a devotee of God must have an understanding that cannot be shaken under any conditions. So this is that nishtha and vishwas, that this burning conviction about our own spiritual path and extreme devotion and dedication to that path. Yeah. So these two things are, and it doesn't mean that we're fanatical and that we look down on other paths. In fact, if we have this understanding, we can appreciate other religions better. We can appreciate them much better. Yeah, I know this is true with many Vedanta, many in the West who come to Vedanta. They say that they have a much better appreciation of the religion that they grew up in, usually Christianity or Judaism, some Islam also maybe. That these Vedanta principles help them understand things that they could only take literally or else reject. But to understand the symbolism and everything behind it. He must be like the anvil in a blacksmith shop. This is that example we have for this intellect that is kutastha. Now this kutastha, it has two meanings. One is that this self within is unchanging. That no matter what effects may come to the mind may have a reaction. The witness is only witnessing, having no reaction at all. Second thing is that we make our minds like that. So the mind is not affected. This is what he's saying here. The mind is not affected. Kutastha is always there. That we can't do anything about. It's always perfect. We don't have to bother with that. We don't have to fix the self. Self is perfect. But the mind, if we can even get the mind to be like the witness, not judging anything, just watching, get the mind to be unmoving. Yeah. So that sthita prajna idea, yeah. So that somebody can come up and look us in the face and insult us right and left, and we'll laugh. We won't care. Yeah, like that. So kutastha, they may criticize our religion and find all faults, and yeah, good. That's your opinion, fine. Yeah. And it won't affect us at all. That type of kutastha. He must be like the anvil in a blacksmith shop. It is constantly being struck by the hammer. Still, it is unshaken. Bad people may abuse you very much and speak ill of you. Now he's talking directly to Vijay, because now they're criticizing him. The same people that he was loyal to when he left Keshav And now they're criticizing him. Yeah. Because that was the one inexcusable act to start with all this personal God and image worship and all these things. Yeah, that was too much for them. Otherwise, they did many things, kirtan, singing and dancing and everything. It wasn't that different. Yeah.
Upanishad did not say
Upanishad, everything was based on the Upanishads. Yeah, they tried to base everything on the Upanishad. Actually, they go back to Ram Mohan Roy. His influence was really the, I would say, the initial thing. And then Devendranath is the one who organized everything. Yeah.
I think the main purpose was get rid of this Satidaha and the reforms.
Yes, that was the other thing, of course. Social reform. That was a very big part. So they had two things. One, to get rid of this too much image worship and this idea that God has form. That's number one. The second thing is just social reform, of course. This remarriage of widows and marriageable age, raise the marriageable age, and caste distinction, get rid of caste. Yeah, whatever Sri Ramakrishna thought of the organization, he had the highest respect for Keshav. They had a very sweet relationship. And Keshav appreciated him more than any of the others, the Brahmos. Vijay Krishna also, we can say, but Keshav really, and didn't mind saying it, and didn't mind thinking of himself as almost a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and sending people to him. He had no jealousy. It was a remarkable thing with Keshav. Others would have thought, yeah, you come to me, don't go to him. But he would invite him and everything. Yeah, Keshav was a good man, no doubt. Bad people may abuse you very much and speak ill of you, but you must bear with them all if you sincerely seek God. Yeah, why worry too much about or so much about opinion of other people? The golden life is God realization. Yeah. Let people say what they want. The very first conversation that we see with Sri Ramakrishna and Narendra is about this. What do you do if people insult you or something? And then Sri Ramakrishna says, yeah, it's like an elephant with the little dogs barking, running in after it. Now, what can they do an elephant? Elephant is a big, huge thing. Huh? You just kind of look and not laugh, but, what can you do to me? It's huge elephant. Yeah. So to take that type of attitude. Isn't it possible to think of God in the midst of the wicked? Just think of the rishis of ancient times. They used to meditate on God in the forest, surrounded on all sides by tigers, bears, and other ferocious beasts. Wicked men have the nature of tigers and bears. They will pursue you to do you an injury. Now, we're saying these things in front of all of the Brahmos also. Yeah, I wonder what the other people are thinking, because they're the very ones, some of them, who are criticizing him, probably. One must be careful about these few things. First, an influential man who has much money and many men under his control. He can injure you if he wants. You must be careful while talking to him. Perhaps you may have to approve what he says. A little compromise. Huh? Yeah, we see this actually. Sri Ramakrishna, sometimes these sadhus would come who could be very angry and strong and everything, and Thakur will follow to that. And then they'll laugh afterwards, they'll laugh at him and say, well, so much reverence for the sadhu. And you say, yes, sometimes we have to do that. If the drunkard comes, he says, yes, call him uncle, offer him a smoke. Yeah, placate him somehow. He was a practical man. Second, a dog. When it chases you or barks at you, you must stand still, talk to it gently, and pacify it. These must be all kind of local sayings, adages, and things. Third, a bull. If it runs after you with lowered horns, you must calm it with a gentle voice. Fourth, a drunkard. If you arouse his anger, he will abuse you, naming 14 generations of your family. You should say to him, hello, uncle, how are you? Then he will be mightily pleased and sit by you and smoke. Yeah. In the presence of a wicked person, I become alert. Yeah, Sri Ramakrishna, he had a childlike nature, and also didn't like confrontation. If he could avoid confrontation, if they're very argumentative types of people, or little one-sided people, yeah, we see how he knows how to butter them up a little bit, and yeah, he used to say he only liked to be with happy people.
Also, since he was having fun doing all
And having fun doing it. Yeah. It's not any type of hypocrisy or calculating thing or anything with him. But it's humorous. And it was obvious to everybody. When these people would leave, the devotees would laugh and joke with him. Yeah. But it got to the point, say, with Hridoy, how he was so afraid of him. We all wonder, how is it possible that he led Hridoy and sold Holy Mother to the point where she went back and he didn't say anything? Yeah, it's not that he was indifferent. It just shows how mortally scared he was of Hridoy at that time. Not that he would physically abuse him, but just he tortured him. Yeah, to the point where he wanted to commit suicide one time. He said, "Yeah." In the presence of a wicked person, I become alert. If such a man asks me whether I have a pipe for smoking, I say, yes, I have. Some people have the nature of a snake. They will bite you without warning. You have to discriminate a great deal in order to avoid the bite. Otherwise, your passion will be stirred up to such an extent that you will feel like doing injury in return. Yeah. So we used to say, yeah, be a devotee, but don't be a fool. We have to be sensible. The companionship of a holy man is greatly needed now and then. Usually he says always needed. Yeah. Holy company is always helpful. It enables one to discriminate between the real and the unreal. Vijay, I've no time, sir. I'm engaged in my duties here. It was true. He had a lot to do with all of the, not just, there wasn't so much with ritual, but they had to give lectures and things, and I don't know what all else. Master, you are a religious teacher. Others have holidays, but not so a religious teacher. When the manager of an estate brings order to one part of it, the landlord sends him to another part. So you have no leisure. All laugh. Vijay with folded hands. Sir, please give me your blessing. Master, now you are talking like an ignorant person. It is God alone who blesses. Now this, we wonder about these things, but Sri Ramakrishna had different moods. In some moods, yeah, it was, who am I to do anything? Mother knows everything. Yeah, that was when he couldn't bear this Guru Baba and Karta. He couldn't bear to be called this Guru or the holy man or master, anything like that. At other times, just with a look and a touch, he would give us not just blessings, but would raise the mind to samadhi. So it depended, but in general, unless he was in an unusual mood, he didn't like this idea that he'll say, "Yes, I bless you, my child," something like that. Yeah. There was one time with Girish, when Girish was forcing him so much to give your blessings, and he said, "No, I can't do that. I can't do that." And then he says, "Yes, you'll get over this." And he says, "Ah, you've blessed me." Yeah, but he had his own way of doing it. So, Master, now you were talking like an ignorant person. It is God alone who blesses. Vijay, revered sir, please give us some instruction. Now, that, of course, he's willing to do. The master glanced around the Brahmo temple and said with a smile, "This is nice too, a mixture of crystals and syrup." There's a footnote. That is to say, a mixture of worldly and spiritual ideals. The allusion is to the practice of keeping molasses in an earthen jar with a small hole at the bottom. The watery part slowly leaks out and crystals are formed inside. So he says, this is nice too, a mixture of crystals and syrup. There are crystals and there is syrup too. I have scored too many points and am therefore out of the game. All laugh. Do you know the game called Knox? It is a game of cards, and anyone scoring above 17 is out of the game. A little bit like 21. Huh? If you get
The crystalline syrup.
that, I don't know. What does it say? Crystalline syrup?
Shari
আমি দেশ কাটিয়ে জ্বলে গেছি।
No, that's afterwards. Before that.
সারে মাতে সারো আছে মাতো আছে।
Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, this what Sri Ramakrishna is saying is that it's like a game of musical chairs. You know, there'll be 10 people, 9 chairs, and you go around in a circle till the music stops. Do you know this game?
Yeah,
The children's
okay.
game. Yeah. So he said the very first time he didn't get a seat, so he's sitting on the side. So he's not participating. That means he's renounced the world. This is the image. So the game of cards, they'll give you different cards and you add them up, the total. If it's above a certain number, then you're out of the game. Others, they can say, yeah, give me more cards, more cards. They get low numbers. They're the people playing the game of the world. He's the one who's simply enjoying the fun watching, not personally involved in anything. Yeah, so he used to use this illustration. You know the game card called Knox. It is a game of cards, and anyone scoring above 17 is out of the game. Those who score fewer points, say 5, 7, or 10, are clever. Not intelligent, clever. They're the ones who know how to work the game. Yeah, they know how to lead a worldly life and make the best of it and everything. I have scored too many and I'm out of the game. Yeah, that's the clever one, really. Once, Keshav Sen gave a lecture at his house. I was present. Many people were there. The ladies were seated behind the screen. Keshav, in the course of his talk, said, "Oh God, please bless us that we may dive and disappear altogether in the river of Bhakti." Yeah, seeing Thakur, he was inspired. I said to Keshav with a smile, "If you disappear altogether in the river of Bhakti, then what will be the fate of those behind the screen?" See, they were so liberal, but still they followed that the ladies would be on the other side, the men would be on one side. By all means, dive into the river, but you'd better come back to dry land now and then. Don't disappear in the river altogether. At these words, Keshav and the others burst out laughing. Never mind. One can realize God in the world too. If only one is sincere. I and mine, that is ignorance. But, O God, thou and thine, that is knowledge. Okay, we can stop here. We're on page 561 in the middle. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukambhatudha Vikraham Ishavataram Parameshamedhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. We bow our heads before Sri Ramakrishna, who is stainless, of infinite nature, whose heart melts in sympathy for his devotees, who is an embodiment of the divine and the Supreme Lord, and ever worthy of our worship. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto. I will be away in California, I think next 2 Fridays. Yeah, so we won't have class. Then I think after that I'm back. I hope.
So no Monday and Sunday.
No, yeah, none of them. Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, just a quick question. Brahmos not believing in image worship was due to Christian influence? Yes. Yeah, I think to a large extent. Maybe even Islamic influence, but mostly Christian influence. Yes. Yeah, I think so. Hmm?
Protestant.
Or Protestant.
Church.
Yeah.